Hello, esteemed gentlemen. The quieter the man, the louder his battles. Most people will never understand how a Sigma male survives the world, not because he hides, but because the world only listens to noise. He moves in silence, not out of mystery, but necessity. While others broadcast their emotions for validation, he buries his inside a mind that never clocks out. Studies show that people who spend long periods in solitude often experience higher levels of mental fatigue, not from isolation itself, but from constant self-reflection. And that's where the Sigma male quietly bleeds. His solitude isn't a retreat, it's a war zone disguised as peace. He's the man who seems calm while overthinking 10 different realities. The one who gets labeled unbothered because he's learned that reacting costs energy he can't afford. Yet behind that unshakable exterior is a mind-balancing clarity and chaos, like it's an Olympic sport. The world romanticizes his independence, until they realize it comes with emotional taxes no one talks about. He's not lonely because he can't find people. He's lonely because he rarely finds depth, and while others chase validation, he's busy wrestling with his own thoughts like they owe him rent. This is why Sigma males secretly have it harder. Not because they're weak, not because they're misunderstood, but because the very things that make them exceptional also make their life heavier. And yet, they'll carry it with a smirk, a sharp observation, and just enough sarcasm to make you wonder if they're serious. Let's dive into the truth most people never see. Number 1. They feel everything, express nothing. Sigma males are wired differently when it comes to emotions. They feel deeply, often more intensely than most people around them, but they rarely show it. Every small gesture, every subtle word, every flicker of tension in the room lands in their mind with full force. Happiness, sadness, frustration, excitement, they absorb it all, catalog it, analyze it, and carry it internally. The world sees them calm, composed, almost unshakable, but inside there's a constant storm. They've learned early that expressing emotions openly often leads to misinterpretation, exploitation, or unnecessary drama. A smile can be read as weakness, a sigh as complaint, a moment of vulnerability as a flaw. So instead they bottle it up, storing every reaction in the silent vault of their mind. This doesn't mean they are numb or detached. On the contrary, their emotional radar is hypersensitive. They notice the tiny cracks in people's behavior that others overlook. They sense shifts in tone before a conversation turns toxic, and they feel the weight of other people's energy like a second skin. Yet, outwardly, they reveal almost nothing. This suppression is both their shield and their burden. They walk through life with emotional intelligence most will never reach, but it comes at a cost: isolation. It's exhausting to constantly experience life in full intensity while showing only a fraction. Every unspoken feeling adds to a quiet pressure, and over time, the weight becomes almost tangible. They can be in a crowded room, surrounded by people, and still feel profoundly alone because nobody can see the internal landscape they carry. And here's the brutal honesty. Their silence doesn't mean they are indifferent. It means they're choosing their battles, protecting their energy, and conserving themselves for moments that truly matter. Every laugh, every glance, every connection is filtered through that deep, unexpressed awareness. They feel everything the world throws at them, but they have mastered the art of not letting it show. And that mastery makes them strong, enigmatic, and quietly terrifying, all at once. Number 2, they're punished for not playing the social game. Sigma males live in a world that values performance over authenticity, and it's a constant, invisible battle. They don't play social games because they see the pointlessness behind forced politeness, meaningless praise, or performative charisma. They speak when it matters, act when it matters, and keep their energy focused on real value. The problem is the world rarely rewards that. Society praises loudness over logic, charm over competence, and spectacle over substance. The Sigma's refusal to participate in these shallow contests often gets mistaken for arrogance, laziness, or disengagement. In the workplace, the Sigma male might be the one quietly solving problems, finding solutions, or keeping operations running smoothly, yet he's overlooked for promotions, recognition, or praise. The loud, flattering, and socially performative co-workers take the spotlight, even if their contributions are half as meaningful. Relationships follow the same pattern. People admire the Sigma from a distance, drawn to his calm, competent presence. But when it comes to attention, emotional energy, or popularity, the Sigma is bypassed because he doesn't conform to expectations. It's not ignorance. Sigma males understand the rules. They've seen how social hierarchies operate, how influence spreads, and how attention is manipulated. They choose to step aside anyway because the cost of playing the game is too high. Every compliment they could give might feel fake. Every smile they could force might feel hollow. And every strategy to fit in comes at the price of their authenticity. This choice to remain genuine makes life harder, not easier. They live in a world that misreads their restraint as disinterest or deficiency, punishing them for qualities that, in reality, make them exceptional. Their brilliance is quiet, their influence subtle, and their success invisible to those who only see the surface. The Sigma is trapped in a paradox. By refusing to play the social game, he preserves his integrity and mental peace, but he also sacrifices recognition, validation, and sometimes opportunity. That is the quiet cruelty of living as a Sigma in a world addicted to performance. Number 3. Their power feels like isolation, not freedom. For Sigma males, power is a double-edged sword. They've mastered independence, self-discipline, and emotional control, but the very traits that make them formidable also create a sense of isolation that most people will never understand. Unlike alpha males, whose dominance is visible and often socially reinforced, a Sigma's strength is quiet, internal, and self-contained. They don't need validation, attention, or followers to confirm their worth, and that gives them a freedom most people envy. But here's the catch. Freedom without understanding is loneliness disguised as choice. They operate on a different wavelength. Where others are distracted by social climbing, gossip, or constant interaction, Sigma males prioritize clarity, self-growth, and precision. This makes them extraordinarily efficient and mentally powerful, but it also separates them from the majority of society. The people around them are often too shallow, too performative, or too distracted to meet them on that level. And when you live on a plane few others can reach, the air can feel thin. Relationships, friendships, even casual interactions carry an unspoken weight. They can sense insincerity, hidden motives, and emotional manipulation, which makes them selective, not aloof, not arrogant, but painfully aware that most social connections come with strings attached. The isolation is subtle but persistent. It isn't just physical, it's emotional, psychological, and existential. A Sigma male can be surrounded by people, yet feel completely alone because no one truly inhabits his inner world. At times, his mind becomes the only arena where he can process his thoughts, make sense of life, and strategize his next moves. That solitude, though chosen, can feel heavier than the chains of ordinary social expectation. And yet, this isolation isn't a weakness. It is the shadow side of their power. Every decision they make, every boundary they set, every moment of calm control reinforces their independence. The world may misread it as coldness or detachment, but inside it's a conscious balancing act between strength and solitude. Their power is real, but its price is constant self-reliance and the quiet understanding that true freedom often comes alone, and that realization is both their greatest gift and their heaviest burden. Number 4, they're constantly miscast in people's narratives. Sigma males live in a world where perception often outweighs reality, and the people around them rarely see them for who they truly are. Instead, everyone projects their own assumptions, fears, and fantasies onto them. One moment, a Sigma might be cast as the mysterious hero, admired from afar for his competence and calm. The next, he becomes the villain, cold, unapproachable, or uncaring, simply because he doesn't play the social games others expect. Sometimes he's a savior, someone people rely on in crisis, only to be forgotten once the immediate need passes. Other times, he's treated like a ghost, present yet invisible, his presence acknowledged only when it suits the observer. This constant miscasting isn't accidental. People are drawn to the Sigma because he operates outside the usual rules of social dynamics, but most can't comprehend him. They fill in the gaps with their own narratives, projecting qualities he may not even possess. Over time, this turns his identity into a collage of misunderstandings, a patchwork of others' expectations, desires, and fears, rather than an authentic reflection of himself. Even when he acts with honesty, integrity, or kindness, it's often interpreted through someone else's lens, twisting intention into something unrecognizable. The impact is subtle, but persistent. A Sigma male learns quickly that the world will rarely see him as he is. It's exhausting to constantly navigate these imposed narratives, to clarify when misunderstood, or to remain patient when people insist on assigning him roles that don't fit. Yet, he rarely complains because he understands the futility of trying to force people to perceive him accurately. Instead, he focuses on the internal compass that guides his actions, allowing others to mislabel, misinterpret, or mythologize him as they please. This miscasting isolates him further. While the world clings to their versions of him, he remains firmly rooted in reality, aware of the disconnect between perception and truth. His life becomes a quiet testament to the idea that the Sigma's worth isn't defined by how others narrate him, but by how faithfully he lives according to his own code. Number 5, they battle a mind that never shuts off. For Sigma males, the hardest opponent isn't anyone else. It's their own mind. From the moment they wake up to the quiet hours of the night, their thoughts run non-stop. Every interaction, every word spoken, every subtle change in someone's behavior is catalogued, analyzed, and dissected. Their mind is a theater of strategy, memory, and silent judgment, constantly running simulations of outcomes, motives, and possibilities. While others might switch off, scroll mindlessly, or let distractions carry them through the day, the Sigma's brain never stops. Even in moments of apparent calm, mental calculations are happening beneath the surface, invisible to everyone else. This relentless inner activity comes with its own kind of exhaustion. They're aware of patterns, nuances, and consequences that most people never notice, and that awareness isn't optional. It's automatic. Every decision, no matter how small, passes through this mental gauntlet. It's why Sigma males can seem so precise and composed externally. They've already run through dozens of scenarios before acting. But that clarity comes at a cost. Mental peace, the kind of effortless calm most people take for granted, is elusive. Their minds are always alert, always evaluating, always questioning. It's not stress in the typical sense. It's the constant hum of hyper-awareness, a mind that won't stop working even when they wish it would. Success, recognition, or social approval rarely bring relief because the battle isn't external, it's internal. Even at the pinnacle of achievement, the mind continues its ceaseless churn. noticing every flaw, every risk, every overlooked detail. The Sigma craves quiet and simplicity, but the mind they inherited doesn't allow it. Peace feels like a myth, a destination just out of reach, because the very way they process the world prevents them from ever fully turning off. And yet, it's this restless intellect that makes them extraordinary. Their strength, insight, and ability to navigate life's complexities come from this unrelenting mental engine. The same engine that never lets them rest, never lets them settle, and quietly ensures they remain both brilliant and profoundly solitary. Number 6. They don't belong to any tribe. Sigma males exist in a space that most people can't comprehend. They don't fit neatly into the boxes society hands out so liberally. Alpha groups assume they're rebellious outsiders, a challenge to the status quo. Betas interpret their quiet confidence as arrogance or indifference. Even the wider world labels them aloof, detached, or difficult. No matter where they go, someone is waiting to misjudge them, pigeonhole them, or write them into a story that isn't theirs. They occupy the invisible space between hierarchies, where most people fear to tread, and it leaves them untethered. This position brings freedom, yes, the ability to move through life without approval, without performing, without following rules that don't make sense to them. But freedom without connection carries its own burden. To exist outside social structures is to navigate a constant sense of rootlessness. Relationships, friendships, and professional networks all operate on group norms, hierarchy, and shared understanding. Sigma males rarely align perfectly with these currents, and the dissonance becomes lonely. Even when surrounded by people, there is a persistent awareness that no one fully understands their rhythm, their priorities, or their perspective. Yet, they aren't lonely because they are incapable of connection. They are lonely because connection on their level is rare. They crave depth, honesty, and insight, qualities that often collide with society's superficial expectations. Their independence, intelligence, and subtlety set them apart, creating a chasm between themselves and the masses. This detachment is both a shield and a cost. It protects them from unnecessary drama, manipulation, and energy drains, but it also ensures that truly equal companionship on the same wavelength is scarce. Being outside the tribes allows them to think, act, and live without constraints, but it also means they must carry the weight of self-reliance, constant vigilance, and understanding a world that rarely sees them clearly. Freedom is intoxicating, but it's a lonely road when the people around you operate on an entirely different frequency, a reality that Sigma males accept with quiet resilience. Number 7. They're too self-aware to be happy. Ignorantly. Sigma males are wired for observation, reflection, and understanding at levels most people never reach. Their minds are constantly analyzing motives, detecting deception, and weighing consequences, which means they see the world as it truly is, unfiltered, raw, and often unforgiving. Happiness, in its simplest form, requires a certain degree of blindness. Most people can smile easily because they overlook the subtle manipulations, hidden agendas, or petty ego games around them. Sigma males can't do that. Their awareness is a double-edged sword. It grants clarity, insight, and strategic advantage, but it also makes unclouded joy nearly impossible. They notice everything that's wrong, unfair, or insincere. When someone acts out of selfishness or deceit, it registers immediately, even if the person isn't obvious about it. Situations that might make others shrug, laugh, or move on leave the Sigma quietly calculating, processing, and internalizing the truth. Every interaction comes with layers most people never see, and they carry the weight of that understanding silently. This constant awareness is exhausting. Moments that could be carefree are shaded by perception. Bliss is diluted because they can't switch off, can't pretend, and can't ignore reality without it gnawing at the edges of their mind. It isn't cynicism. It's clarity. They aren't pessimistic, they are observant. They see manipulation for what it is, delusion for what it is, and ego-driven behavior for what it is. That knowledge protects them from being used, blindsided, or manipulated, but it also isolates them from the naive happiness that others take for granted. A Sigma male can be calm, composed, and even appear content, but underneath, his awareness is always active. Serenity isn't handed to him. It must be earned, built through discipline, perspective, and acceptance of a world that rarely plays fair. In the end, the Sigma's self-awareness is both a gift and a curse. It makes him exceptional, insightful, and formidable, but it also ensures that simple happiness is always fleeting, always filtered, and never as effortless as it is for those willing to remain blissfully blind. Number 8. They attract interest but rarely belong. Sigma. Males have a presence that naturally draws attention. There's a magnetism in their quiet confidence, in the way they move through the world without needing validation or approval. People notice them, they are intrigued by them, and often they are admired from afar. But admiration and curiosity are not the same as connection, and Sigma males quickly discover that most relationships feel more like auditions than genuine bonds. People approach them with fascination, wanting to uncover the mystery, to figure out what makes them tick. But that curiosity rarely transforms into true understanding. The Sigma observes, assesses, and measures the intentions of those around him, but he doesn't let himself fully merge with others unless he perceives authenticity. Many fail this invisible test without even realizing it, leaving him surrounded by interest but rarely by genuine companionship. Relationships, both personal and professional, often feel transactional. People are drawn to the aura, the competence, or the calm authority, but the Sigma is left questioning whether anyone is truly there for who he is beneath the surface. This constant discrepancy between interest and belonging can be exhausting. The Sigma male can be the center of attention in a room, admired and envied, yet he feels the isolation of knowing that few can meet him on the same wavelength. Friendships, romantic connections, and professional partnerships all carry the weight of evaluation. He doesn't settle, doesn't force bonds, and doesn't compromise authenticity to fit in. That's what makes him so magnetic and so solitary. It's a paradox. He is endlessly fascinating and yet frustratingly unattainable. He moves through life as someone who can command attention without trying, who inspires intrigue without effort, and who captivates without explanation. But in the quiet moments, he feels the weight of being perpetually admired yet seldom truly known. To the world, he is a mystery to be solved. To himself, he is simply navigating a life where belonging is earned, not assumed. Number 9. They keep losing battles. No one knows. Their fighting Sigma males carry wars that are invisible to everyone else. Every day they navigate a mental and emotional battlefield that no one notices and no one applauds. Overthinking isn't a casual habit for them. It's a relentless running narrative of possibilities, mistakes, and consequences. Every decision, every interaction, every word spoken is dissected internally, analyzed for hidden meaning, and measured against countless outcomes. That constant mental churn is exhausting, yet they never let it show. The world sees calm, control, and composure, never the storm raging beneath the surface. Emotional exhaustion is another battle they fight in silence. Sigma males absorb more than they release. They process other people's drama, societal expectations, and the subtle pressures of life, yet they carry it alone. They've learned that expressing fatigue or frustration often invites misunderstanding, judgment, or exploitation. So instead, they mask their struggles behind a steady exterior, giving the illusion that everything is effortless, when in truth, it's a careful balancing act. And then there's the existential loneliness. Sigma males often see the world differently, and the awareness that most people operate on shallow or performative levels creates a profound sense of isolation. Even when surrounded by people, they can feel fundamentally alone because nobody truly sees them, their thoughts, their struggles, their depth. That solitude is both self-imposed and unavoidable, and it's a silent battle that no one acknowledges. Despite all this, they rarely complain. Their calm demeanor becomes their shield and their armor. The world praises them for being unshakable, organized, and in control, never realizing that these qualities are the result of constant, unseen struggle. Every day, a Sigma male quietly loses battles that shape him, grind him, and test his resilience, all while projecting a perfection that is, ironically, a product of the very conflicts he can't escape. Their strength is forged in silence, but the cost of that silence is a set of struggles no one will ever fully understand. Number 10. They're expected to be mysterious, not human. Sigma males are often boxed into an archetype before anyone even knows them. The mysterious, unshakable, enigmatic figure who seems untouchable. Society glorifies this image, treating their quiet independence as something exotic or aspirational. Everyone wants the aura, the mystique, the calm and unbothered energy. But when a Sigma male dares to show the very humanity that drives him, the illusion shatters. A laugh, a sigh, a fleeting moment of vulnerability. These are often met with confusion, disappointment, or disinterest. People are captivated by the mask, not the man, and Sigma males quickly learn that authenticity comes at a social cost. The paradox is brutal. They're punished for being real. The more human they allow themselves to be, the more they risk losing the fascination that others had for them in the first place. Expressing emotion, admitting doubt, or revealing inner struggles breaks the carefully constructed image others rely on for their intrigue. Instead of connection, these moments often bring distance. People don't want depth, they want the safe, controlled enigma. In trying to meet others' expectations, Sigma males might appear cold or detached, but in reality they are simply self-preserving, aware that showing too much opens the door to misunderstanding, manipulation, or exploitation. This constant balancing act creates pressure few can understand. A Sigma male must navigate a world that simultaneously demands his uniqueness and punishes him for it. The mask that attracts admiration also isolates him. It's a trap of expectation. Be fascinating but unreadable, be strong but detached, be present but untouchable. The human side of the Sigma, the real thoughts, feelings, and contradictions, exists largely unseen, tucked behind an exterior carefully calibrated for survival and respect. In the end, the Sigma learns that being fully human is a liability in a world obsessed with archetypes. Their authenticity, their vulnerability, and their depth are treasures that few are equipped to handle. They walk a lonely line between intrigue and isolation, admired for what they appear to be and punished for what they actually are. Number 11. They feel invisible until needed. Sigma males often move through life like shadows, present, capable, and quietly competent, yet largely unnoticed. People rarely acknowledge them when everything is running smoothly, because their influence is subtle, not performative. They don't seek attention, so they rarely get it, and society has a habit of overlooking those who solve problems without fanfare. While others clamor for praise, recognition, or validation, the Sigma quietly holds things together, often without anyone realizing the effort it takes to maintain balance. Then chaos strikes. A crisis arises, tensions flare, or a complex problem demands a clear mind and steady hand. Suddenly the world takes notice. The Sigma's calm, measured presence becomes indispensable. People turn to him for guidance, insight, and composure, leaning on him as the anchor that prevents everything from spiraling out of control. In those moments, his value is undeniable, his abilities unmissable, and his judgment respected. But it's always situational. Once the storm passes, the pattern repeats. People retreat back into their comfort zones, praising the visible performers while quietly ignoring the steady pillars that keep things from collapsing. The Sigma returns to the background, unnoticed once again, despite the invisible work he continues to carry. This cycle, overlooked, relied upon, then overlooked again, creates a quiet frustration, a sense of being invisible except when someone needs a lifeline. It's the paradox of being everyone's stability, but nobody's favorite. Their contributions are never flashy enough to garner sustained attention, yet their absence would be catastrophic. This invisibility doesn't stem from inadequacy. It comes from the nature of their strengths. Sigma males operate on a plane of calm, competence, and discretion, and in a world that rewards spectacle over substance, it often leaves them feeling undervalued, unseen, and quietly burdened by the very reliability that makes them extraordinary. Number 12. They're too strategic to be spontaneous. Sigma males live life several steps ahead of most people. Their minds are constantly running simulations, analyzing potential outcomes before they act, and weighing risks against rewards in ways others rarely notice. Every decision, from the smallest interaction to major life choices, is filtered through this mental grid, ensuring that they minimize error and avoid unnecessary setbacks. This strategic approach keeps them safe, efficient, and often far more capable than those around them. It is one of their greatest strengths, the ability to anticipate, prepare, and navigate life with precision. But this very strength comes with a hidden cost: spontaneity. Because they are always calculating, they rarely allow themselves to simply act without foresight. The moments that most people take for granted, sudden adventures, impulsive decisions, or carefree risks, are often tempered by the Sigma's inner calculations. They know too much about potential consequences, probabilities, and human behavior to fully let go, and this constant foresight can dampen the thrill of living in the present. Joy, excitement, and impulsive freedom become rarities because the mind is always scanning for threats, analyzing intentions, and predicting outcomes. It creates a paradox. Their strategic mind grants them power, control, and resilience, yet it can make life feel overly calculated, even restrictive. They can navigate complex social dynamics, avoid pitfalls, and seize opportunities with uncanny precision, but the price is a subtle loss of the unpredictable, carefree moments that others savor without thought. The Sigma exists in a constant balance between preparedness and the fleeting desire to let go, between mastery of circumstance and the human craving for surprise. Ultimately, their calculated approach is not a flaw. It is the foundation of who they are. Yet it's one of the quiet sacrifices of being a Sigma, a life of extraordinary control, clarity, and success, but a life where the pure thrill of spontaneity is often tempered, watched, and carefully measured before it can ever truly be enjoyed. In the end, the life of a Sigma male is a study in contrasts. Extraordinary independence shadowed by quiet struggle, unparalleled self-mastery weighed down by invisible battles. They navigate a world that misunderstands them at every turn, projecting myths, miscasting roles, and punishing authenticity, yet they persist with a resilience few can comprehend. Their strength isn't measured in social validation, applause, or superficial achievements. It's measured in the discipline to remain true to themselves, in the courage to process life's complexities silently, and in the subtle power of existing without needing permission or approval. Being a Sigma male is not glamorous. It's not about living above others or wielding authority over anyone. It's about carrying the weight of a mind that never stops, a heart that feels more than most can handle, and a spirit that refuses to conform. Every day they battle the exhaustion of overthinking, the isolation of being misunderstood, and the paradox of being admired but rarely known. And yet they continue, silently shaping their world, moving through chaos with calm, and embracing a freedom that comes at a cost most will never see. For those who truly understand, the Sigma's life is inspiring, profound and awe-inspiring in its depth. They are proof that true power doesn't demand recognition, and real independence doesn't require approval. But it's also proof that greatness carries burdens, often unseen, and strength can feel like solitude. If this exploration resonated with you, if it opened your eyes to the hidden layers of Sigma males and the quiet struggles they face, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss content that dives deeper than the surface. Like this video if it made you see things differently. Share it with someone who needs to understand the Sigma perspective, and drop a comment with your thoughts. Because here, we value insight, reflection, and the courage to confront truths others ignore. Stay tuned, stay sharp, and remember, the Sigma path is rare, but understanding it is the first step to seeing the world as it really is.